I care about my kids, and I want them to be healthy. That's why we're in WIC. WIC foods are great. They're good for you, and they taste good too. I also like the health and the nutrition tips you get when you're picking up your WIC checks.
Shopping for WIC foods isn't hard, but there are rules that you and your proxy must follow. This video will explain what those rules are. If you have any questions, you can talk to someone in your WIC office.
Welcome to the Maryland WIC program. WIC provides health and nutrition tips, referrals to other programs, and nutritious WIC foods to eligible women, infants, and children. You will receive WIC checks to buy WIC foods. Of course, you must follow rules to use them correctly. You may designate 2 proxies to pick up your checks from WIC and buy WIC foods for you. But before they can pick up or spend your checks, you must give the WIC program their names and explain all of the rules to them. You will be given an appointment to pick up your WIC checks. WIC offers educational activities at these times and asks that you participate in them. Your proxy can attend for you, but should tell you about the activity. You will receive a WIC identification folder. This ID folder contains important information, such as the names and identification numbers of all WIC participants in your family, your signature and those of your proxies, and the official stamp of your WIC program. You or your proxy must bring this ID folder to all WIC appointments. You must also have the ID folder to pick up WIC checks and to spend them at the store. Keep your WIC checks and identification folder in a safe place. Lost or stolen WIC checks cannot be replaced. The women, infants, and children who qualify for WIC are provided with specific amounts of WIC foods each month. The foods a woman or child participant may receive are milk, cheese, eggs, dried beans, peanut butter, cereal, fruit or vegetable juice. Some breastfeeding mothers may also receive carrots and tuna. Infant participants may receive iron-fortified infant formula, infant juice, infant cereal. WIC foods provide each participant with some of the healthy foods they need to eat every day. You will need to buy foods in addition to your WIC foods. If your baby is formula fed, you will need to buy more formula as your baby grows.
You have a good day.
You can spend WIC checks in any WIC authorized store in Maryland. A list of stores in your community will be given to you. Look for the sign, WIC accepted here, near the store entrance. This sign lets you know that the store is authorized to accept WIC checks. Let's look at the WIC check in more detail. The check contains a pre-printed participant name, WIC identification number, and dates to spend. There is also a signature line on the bottom of the check. Look at the dates to spend on your check before you use them. You may use the check on or between the first date to spend and last date to spend. The check cannot be used before the first date to spend or after the last date to spend. A signature line on the check must stay blank until the store cashier asks you to sign it. Never sign the check ahead of time. The WIC check specifies the types, amounts, and sometimes brands of food. For example, this check allows you to buy 1 dozen eggs, 1 pound of dry beans, peas, or lentils, 2 gallons of unflavored pasteurized fluid milk, 3 containers of juice, and 16 ounces or less of domestic cheese. For infants, WIC checks also specify brands. In this example, the check allows you to buy 16 cans of Similac Advance with iron concentrate. You must buy the specific formula shown on the check. You will receive a copy of the WIC authorized foods list. Use this list to choose foods specified on the WIC check. This list contains important information about each food, such as the types, container sizes, and brands you are allowed to buy. It also tells you what you are not allowed to buy. You may not find every brand or type of food in the store where you shop. WIC authorized stores are required to carry some, but not all of the varieties on the authorized foods list. The cereal section of the authorized foods list shows pictures and names of the brands that are allowed. You can choose a combination of brands and box sizes, but the total number of ounces cannot exceed the ounces specified on the WIC check. For example, this check specifies 36 ounces of cereal. You could buy one 10-ounce box, one 12-ounce box, and one 13-ounce box. The total adds up to 35 ounces. The authorized foods list shows several ways to combine box sizes of cereal. The juice section shows pictures and names of allowed brands and container sizes. Juice may be available in 46-ounce cans or plastic bottles, or as juice concentrate in 10 to 12-ounce cans. You are allowed to choose a combination of brands, container sizes, and types. For example, this check specifies 3 cans of juice. You could buy 2 46-ounce cans of juice and 1 10-ounce can of juice concentrate. You must choose WIC foods from the authorized foods list. Do not substitute any foods or brands. As you shop, be sure to check the expiration dates on the WIC containers. Buy only those foods with expiration dates in the future. Pick up perishable WIC foods like milk, eggs, or frozen juice concentrate just before you head to the checkout counter. It helps prevent spoilage. At the checkout counter, have your WIC ID folder and checks ready to complete the purchase of your WIC foods. Let's watch how it works.
Dates are okay. Let's see what we have here. 1 gallon of milk, 16 ounces of cheese, beans, and 3 cans of juice. Your total is $12.
Okay.
I need you to sign at the bottom. Signatures match.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's review each step. Hand your WIC ID folder to the cashier. The ID folder is the only form of identification you are required to show. Sort your WIC foods as you place them on the counter. Match each food with its corresponding check. If you use 2 or more checks, there must be 2 or more sets of WIC foods. Each check is treated as a separate WIC purchase. If you buy non-WIC foods or other items, place them behind the WIC foods. Non-WIC items should be bought after the final WIC purchase.
Your total is $159.
Okay.
Hand the cashier each check you are spending. For each check, the cashier will ring up all of the WIC foods, write the total amount on the check, then ask you to sign the check. Sign your name exactly as it appears on the ID folder. The cashier will give you a receipt for each WIC purchase. Let's review the rules for using WIC checks to buy WIC foods. Use your checks on or between the first and last dates to spend. Choose foods from the WIC authorized foods list. Separate your WIC foods according to the checks you are spending. Give your WIC ID folder and each check you are spending to the cashier. Sign the checks only after the cashier has entered the total amount on them. Get all of your receipts and your WIC ID folder back from the cashier after the final WIC purchase. Sometimes the brand of baby formula specified on the check is available only from a WIC authorized pharmacy or grocery store with a pharmacy. Take your WIC checks to the pharmacy counter. The formula will be ordered and must be provided to you within 48 hours, excluding weekends and holidays.
Hi, sir. I couldn't find this infant formula listed on my WIC check.
Oh, well, that's okay. We can order that for you and have it for you the day after tomorrow.
If you have difficulty buying your baby's formula, contact your WIC
thank you
program
very much.
right away. Here are some final rules for using WIC checks. Do not use cash-only express lanes or self-checkout lines. Do not return WIC foods to the store for a cash refund or in exchange for other foods. If you feel a WIC food is spoiled when you bought it, talk to the store manager. You may be allowed to make an exact exchange. Do not pay or accept any money for WIC foods. Do not accept credit or rain checks for WIC foods. You may use cents-off coupons or store discount cards and promotions, like buy one get one free. You are not required to buy all of the foods printed on your check. If you have questions while shopping, ask for the assistance of a customer service representative. If you feel you are having a problem at the checkout, politely ask to speak to the store manager. Do not hold up the line to argue. Contact your WIC program if you feel you are having problems with the store. It is important to follow the rules for buying WIC foods with WIC checks. Not following them could result in your disqualification from the WIC program. The rules for buying WIC foods are found inside your WIC ID folder. You should review them every now and then and make sure you don't forget them. Make sure your proxies are familiar with them too. And remember, WIC can answer any questions you have about WIC foods or feeding your family.